Well, ladies and gents, welcome back to episode 4 of the Energizer Podcast. Today I'm here with Christian Schwartz, senior from Nichols High School in Buffalo, New York. Christian, thanks for coming on today, man.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a fun episode. I can feel the energy already. So talking about you, you're a goalie, you play hockey, and obviously I know you're on the Nichols prep team this past year. If you kind of want to just tell the viewers a little bit about your background and kind of what this prep season meant to you.
Yeah, so obviously I'm a Buffalo-born kid. Uh, Never left. So basically I didn't always go to Nichols. Obviously, I was a transfer student there. My sophomore year. So I mean a little bit different. I used to go to North High School, Williamsville North. Very different culture, very different play styles, very different training. I'll just get into like some of like the minor details of
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
So instantaneously, I noticed the competition level, huge increase in that, and it kind of took a little bit to get like used to because I was 15 facing 16-year-olds when I first got there. Definitely a huge change up in the play style, competition levels because we would travel all over the place, and you don't really get that anywhere else in Buffalo and New York as a general, going to such like a prestigious school like Nichols. So I would definitely say the competition level just instantaneously you wouldn't even notice it, like even like if you were in my position, like it's crazy how big the change in level is. So that's something I really had to get used to, especially being a young goaltender in this day and age. It's not easy. Kids are just getting better and better year by year. So definitely definitely that. And the culture, I would say you have such a tight knit culture that, like, I mean, you going to Joe's definitely know what that's like, having like a brotherhood,
Yeah.
having a family. It's something you cherish and hold on to, and it's something that I had to get really used to, like not really being used to that going to North, having a lot of people at the school, going to such a different school, different atmosphere as Nichols, getting that brotherhood and that family that not a lot of people get to really, get to indulge in. So those were definitely two of the biggest things that I noticed switching and going to Nichols, and such like a prestigious. So thankful I got to go there. Fun, hard working school. So that's definitely that something I noticed as a hockey player going to Nichols.
Yeah, so talking about, you said the intensity,
Yeah,
the competitiveness level is just unlike any other school in Buffalo.
yeah,
So, kind of comes along with that is, the practice regimen.
yeah,
So what is that regimen to you, especially being a goaltender, you're the backstop,
yeah,
you're the
yeah,
last line of defense and you have to make sure you're at the top of your game because you can't afford to have one game where you're down and out.
yeah.
So how does the practice regimen at Nichols kind of contribute to, your play?
Yeah. Just gonna go on a limb here and say like it. My personal growth from those practices. I mean, we were on the ice every day. Like that COVID year, the first year I got there, every day. Not as much games. I mean, obviously because COVID, but I got there. We would practice 6:30 some days, 3:45 right after school, every day. Just getting countless reps in, countless shots all day. It definitely was a big switch from anything I was used to, and I totally noticed that as soon as I got there, and it's kind of stuck with me. Like, yeah, body starts to hurt a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's what you get into, being such like being on the ice so much. So, I mean, it's crazy the intensity and the speed and the flow of the practices. Like, it's definitely something I've grown accustomed to, and definitely going to help me succeed in my future. So, I would say that the practices definitely are something that made me who I am today. Because if I kept on practicing the way I was before, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. So definitely gonna have to give it up to Nichols having such a nice program that knows what they're doing, has people that have played at that second level that will guide you to the place that you want to be, and will 100% make you succeed in what you're trying to do. 100%.
Yeah, and like you said, kind of leading in it your career in Nichols to your future.
Yeah.
Obviously you just signed with the Junior Sabres for juniors next year, and like you said, you had that really good base and kind of fundamental built up at Nichols, and it really developed. So like I said, that's super beneficial to you. And now kind of going into your future with the Junior Sabres and your mindset throughout the offseason, what do you think that, what are your thoughts on, next season, how you're going to get prepared, and kind of what do you think the regimen's going to be there?
Yeah, I definitely think that standard that you have playing hockey for such a well-known, well-renowned program like the Junior Sabres, you're definitely going to have to carry some weight on your shoulders. And I feel like I'm totally prepared to face that standard that they give us to a degree where I've been there before. I've been the top guy. I know what I have to do to be successful, and I know what I have to do to make my teammates successful. And I feel like I'm fully prepared to take on that next year. Like, once again, going to such a nice, renowned, huge, known facility and program that the Junior Sabres have over there. So I feel like I'm well prepared for that and should be able to take my steps even more forward, going to a higher league and eventually trying to go D1. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's a good stepping stone in my choice and my life to get to where I want to go.
Yeah, and juniors has become super popular among, especially hockey. I know like they have JUCO for football, but juniors has become super
Yeah.
popular with hockey. You got the NOL, the OHL, AHL, stuff like that, USHL, and all those leagues are great. But like you said, there's so many avenues that you have right now that you're allowed to look down and get you to like you said, the D1 college level. So that's awesome to hear. And obviously you're a pretty tall kid.
Yeah.
You're a pretty big kid, so kind of diving into your strengths as a goaltender, what do you think that you bring to the table individually as yourself that kind of separates you from other goaltenders?
Definitely, like you said, size. I don't feel like a lot of kids are as blessed as I am with my size, which, 6'2", about like 180. So I mean, like that's a pretty good build that you want being a goaltender because you need to be, I would say, bigger and take up a lot more of the net and be like very like I'd say I'm pretty fast, and I like to credit myself with my footwork because I feel like my footwork is better and faster than some kids the same size as me,
Yeah.
which is a huge asset that I like to use because I don't like to get beat like far side or something. Like other big goalies get beat because they don't have as quick as feet or as quick movement. So I like to pride myself in my footwork because I feel like over the years it's definitely gotten to the point where I am comfortable with and gradually getting better every day where I practice and I'm working on it in the gym and lifting and doing certain things to better my movement and better my goalie potential. So I feel like my movement is one of the key to my crops. So it definitely helps being a bigger guy, having that movement and being successful with that.
Yeah, and I guess all that stuff too kind of ties back to your success so far. Looking back in 2022, your team won the state championship, and you were named the MVP.
Yep.
What is that feeling like? Obviously, you're there and you're holding this trophy, and you realize like you're the standout player. Like that feeling must be great. So what is that feeling mean to you? And like obviously, you got your boys there, and
Yeah.
you guys are buzzing. So like, what is that feeling in that group kind of environment?
Well, like we had a great group of guys that year. Definitely one of the best people I've ever played hockey with. We weren't like the best skilled, but like, hey, it shows you that skill. You don't need skill to win a championship, and that really showed last year in that final. So, um, I mean, it was crazy. It was an unreal feeling. Finally hosting that trophy for all that hard work that we put in that year, and it's definitely crazy to think how long ago it was because I mean, hey, it's been like a year since or past a year.
Yeah.
So I mean, going back to that, I mean, it's a crazy feeling, hosting that trophy, MVP plaque in hand. I mean, I could have given that plaque to 80% of the team, and like just the fact that they chose me that game is another crazy story that like I mean, it's a crazy feeling because like not every kid gets to chair like gets to cherish that moment like that. Like another kid on the team may see it differently than I do, but like just that moment, that feeling, and it of itself is just crazy. And the fact that I got to do it at such a young level and experience that just makes me want to do it again. So let's do it again. Of
Yeah, that drive's definitely good. And like you said,
course.
the mindset you have towards your teammates, realizing that like the plaque could have gone anyone, and obviously like, congratulations to you, but your mindset towards making sure that everyone's recognized is really, really key, especially being a goaltender. You're looked upon as a leader in the room because, at the end of the day, everything falls on you, and you got to step up and, do what you got to do. So it's like I said, it's super beneficial to you that, you have that mindset. So a little new segment here on the pod. We're gonna kind of dive in a little story time. So obviously, it's exactly what it sounds like. Basically, I'm gonna ask the athlete that's on. Obviously, today it's Christian. What is a story or a funny whatever that you've had in the past? It can be whenever, but something that you found funny and you're with your boys. Whatever it was. But yeah, go ahead. The stage is all yours.
Okay, so I used to play baseball. So Cooperstown is a big tournament. You know, Cooperstown, New York.
Yep.
All these teams from all over the place get to come. Great experience. But not so much for me because I couldn't get a hit the entire tournament. The entire tournament. I'm telling you, ground out, strike out, pop out, all weekend, right? And like, so we're sitting in our bunks, our dorms, our cabin or whatever it is, and like you do pin trading there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So pins are going around. Oh, I got this pin. I got this pin. Oh, great. And it's like lights out. So like we're trying to go to bed, right? And we're all sitting in our beds, and this kid, Lucas Murdy, I don't know if you know Lucas Murdy.
Okay.
He goes south, great kid. He's like, oh yeah, I got this really cool pin. It's like called Tri Valley, like it's a cool team pin. And like I'm sitting in the corner of my bed, so mad that I can't sleep. And I just scream. I go like, Tri Valley, shit in my pants, dude. I'm trying to go to bed, right? Everyone in the room starts dying laughing, right? And he's just like, hey man, that's not cool, man. And then like my coach had to talk to me. He goes, that was probably the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life, right? Still in my slump though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing's changed. We wake up tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. We hit the batting cages, right? Like I'm like, in a slump. Like I can't hit,
Yeah.
I can't hit a ball at the side of a barn right now. So I'm like, oh man, can't hit the ball, can't hit the ball. We face this team. I forget where they're from. Like this big pitcher. He's like, he doesn't look 14, 13, however old we are.
Yeah.
He looks like 25. so, um, like I'm like on deck, right? I'm swinging the bat. My coach comes up to me. He goes, you know what? Clear out everything from your head right now. Go up there and just think of one thing. And like he pulls me to the side. He pulls me away from everyone else. He goes like, just think about Tri Valley shit in my pants. I'm just like sitting there dying laughing. I'm like, dude, there's no way this guy just told me that. So I go up there. It's like, I take a pitch, right down the plate. I'm like, holy, this kid throws like 80 miles per hour, and like I'm just like looking back at the bench, looking back at my bench. My coach is just like, tell me, calm down, just think of what I told you, right? And I step in the plate. It's like what, 0-1, and this guy, he's throwing heat, and I just go up there, swing the bat. Somehow the ball hits the barrel, and I hit this ball the furthest I've ever hit a ball in my entire life, and the bench starts going crazy.
Oh my god.
Absolutely crazy, it was, funniest moment of my life playing baseball. I'm not even I quit baseball a few years ago, and just having that memory stick with me for so long is just crazy. And it still gets brought up to this day whenever I see my coach. He's just like, remember the time? And I'm like, oh, I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great story. Like
100%.
I feel like a lot of kids too now, like, it obviously when you get to a certain level of sports, like it's serious, but everyone I feel like forgets, why the reason you started the sport is because you just had a blast. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like those stories are gonna carry on forever, and like, one day you're gonna tell your kids, and it's just it's a great time. So I'm glad you got to be the first story, and it was funny. So
yeah, 100%.
But yeah, if you have anything else, like any hockey stories you got.
Yeah. we can go to this year.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear it.
So we were in Minnesota, I think it was. And we're getting blown out by all these like top teams in the US, right? And I mean like number 1, 2, 3 kind of teams like
Yeah.
very, very similar. And like we're on our bus ride back to the hotel, I think it was, right? And like like we're just in the bus, right, having a good time. Like
Yeah.
even though we really shouldn't be, because I mean
Yeah,
we were getting blown out by all these teams. Like wasn't even fair. Like I mean, I think we even lost like 7-1 couple like to a team, like 5-0, 4-0. Like they were blowouts.
Yeah.
And like we're on the bus ride home, and like this kid goes up to our coach and he's like, "Hey coach, can we like stop at like Chipotle or something?" The bus stops.
Oh no.
He's like, "All right, stop the bus." He gets up, yells at all the guys on the bus, all the guys, like no mercy kind of yell. And like I'm just like sitting in the back, like we just got blown out. I'm just like, hey bro, like this is what it's gonna be like. We can't like if we like if we joke around and stuff, like that doesn't fly at Nichols. And like that day kind of stapled it in me. Like I don't want to be that guy, you know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that, like those days that like you're gonna remember because they'll stick with you. Like now it's funny to me now, but in the moment I was scared, like sitting there. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be that guy. So it's like stuff like that where it's like it'll stick with you, and it's just all fun and laughs now.
Yeah.
Which in the moment they're priceless things.
That's
so
awesome.
100%.
Yeah, the bus rides are definitely a
Bus
different
rides.
feel.
I could tell 800 stories about bus rides. So
Yeah, they're interesting, especially after you're, like you said, if you lose, like, you got that one kid on that bus who's just like
that one kid.
He's the class clown, you know.
Mhm,
He
100%.
just doesn't see what he's doing, and yeah, funny stuff. But
Yeah.
well,
100%.
that will wrap up today's episode. Please contact me. I will put the email in the link below if you're interested in coming on the pod. Definitely contact me. Christian, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
And best of luck to you this year. You know, obviously, big year for you. So, best of luck to you. And last thing I'll say is, I've said it multiple times, but make sure to stay tuned for the Power 39 Athletic Clothing Drop. It has officially been registered, so we are LLC'd. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, we're corporate, and we're super excited to start selling to you guys. So please stay tuned for that, and that'll wrap up today. Thank you.